This is the Life is Easy, Life is Good video blog, and this is the 17th video. So today I just wanted to share with you that a lot of times what I find myself doing is getting into flight or fight mode. And basically what that means is that when I'm faced with a challenge or something that's seemingly overwhelming for me, I either, double down and want to fight it to the death, and it takes a lot of energy out of me, or I use different coping mechanisms to escape the situation, to not even think about it. And I like to refer to this as the false belief of damned if you do, damned if you don't. So a lot of people that I know, and even myself, I find myself when I'm faced with a negative challenge to either say, well, it doesn't matter what I do, because no matter what I do, it's still going to be negative for me. It's still not going to work. It's not going to work out. Or I'll go into actually trying to fight the thing and trying to wrap my head around it, solve it like a math problem, and really trying to work at it, and that's to no avail. So that wasted energy, that quote-unquote wasted energy that we spend trying to fight it with no to little change, causes us to switch to the other side and just say, well, there's no use in fighting it in the future. So this is a wildly popular but very untrue mindset that we are inevitably cursed to just be and feel overwhelmed and outnumbered by the negative. So what I wanted to do was try to just debunk this spiritual myth, is that when we believe that there's no use in addressing our issues, even because we either try to fight it with our pure strength or we try to escape from it. But I talked about last week how there's a third option, and this third option tends to be the most effective when addressing a negative challenge. And I wanted to kind of add on to what I talked about last week, and just to tell you that we are actually designed to be champions, not in the sense that there's competition, but in the sense that there's no competition. And one of the false things that we can kind of get into is to believe that there's this eternal struggle between good and evil. And once I realized that, it depends on how you look at it. If your perspective, there's a great war between good and evil evil is winning, then I will continue to experience evil or the negative overwhelming my life. But you can actually escape from that and be free from that that vicious cycle of always feeling that the negative is overwhelming and overpowering you and outnumbering you, if you just first of all realize that there's really no struggle between good and evil. And the reason why I'm confident in saying that is because I realize that life is not designed to be a struggle, and that the only negative that we really experience on an individual basis or even witness, happening in the world, I believe is an illusion. It's just a bad dream, and it's not really reality. And when we actually allow our spiritual true selves to open our eyes to actually see things from a different perspective, we can see that all is good and all is well, even in those negative situations. And a lot of times, if you can just test this out, because if you feel like the negative is constantly showing up in your life and you really don't know why, and you have to constantly combat negative, evil things in your individual life, or always hearing bad news in the national news or even in the local news, like, oh man, what a shame, that was horrible, and it just takes the life out of you. If that has that effect on you, like me, you're probably one of the ones that kind of had a viewpoint of, well, this evil's just winning, and this world is just bad and it's going to hell in the handbasket. I believe that mindset can actually be counterproductive to where we want to be as far as enjoying life and being free to love life. So I freed myself from always having to feel like evil was pulling some life or good out of me whenever something bad happened. But first of all, realizing that life was not created to be a struggle. There isn't a war between good and evil. In fact, the evil that we do perceive in our lives is just a perception, it's just a bad dream that we can wake up from. And I realized this because, like I said last week, is that the same energy that makes the foliage in the earth grow and feeds the birds of the sky. The birds don't worry about anything. They just fly around, and the earth provides them with their food. And the same energy that makes the wind blow and actually permeates the earth with oxygen so that we can breathe in and live. And these seemingly miraculous things that happen on a constant level is the same source that actually is behind our lives. It's the life, capital L, behind our life, small l. And because we are connected to that same force and that same energy, whether you call that energy God or whether you call that energy science, we are actually connected to that power. And because we are connected to that power, that causes us to be able to realize that if I can't control whether the sun sets and rises, and if I can't control whether the wind blows or whether the oxygen fills the earth, if that's not something that I can assert my will into, then even in my own individual personal life, when I'm addressed with negative issues, I don't have to assert my agenda and my preference into it. I can actually now have the inherent ability or the natural ability to let go of the control of my life and allow that same source that controls the bigger things in the universe to actually flow through my life and unfold in my life. And when we're able to do that, is first of all change our perspective to see that good is the only power that there is, and if any evil seemingly seems to overwhelm you, that it's just a bad dream we can wake up from. And I hope this is making sense to you, because one day the light just came on for me, and whenever a negative situation comes my way, it doesn't take the life out of me. I feel more than confident that any situation that comes my way, I can still enjoy and love life. So I really don't want to drag too long onto this, but the same molecules, atoms, and particles that permeate the universe is the same spirit that gives us life. And with that power, there's nothing that can defeat us or take away life from us. And you are a champion, and you are meant to actually be successful over anything that will come your way and still enjoy and love your life. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. Next week we'll continue to talk about the idea of how the universal spirit is the source of our lives and just explaining what that means. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.